Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Hey, Reese, you hungry?
You know I am, Mama. Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken fingers. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce right. You go to coleslaw right here. Ooh, Lord help me. This sweet tea makes me sweet. That's what my mama said. So what are you doing right now? Get your mom to take you to Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Hello!
Ever wonder what it's like to work for a company that actually cares? At Lincoln Industries, they're revolutionizing local manufacturing while taking care of their most valuable asset, their people. When you join their team, you'll enjoy comprehensive health coverage, wellness initiatives that work around your life, and benefits that show they're serious about your future. Plus, you'll be a part of a proud manufacturing tradition right here in the community. Don't just take their word for it. Visit LincolnIndustries.com to see all their current opportunities and find out why their people love calling Lincoln Industries home.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Stop asking your friends if they're hosting a party this Sunday and come for the real party instead. Join 93.7 The Ticket for the big game at Wings and Rings at 68th and O this Sunday and walk away with great prizes just for showing up. Why worry about making a great spread of food for the game at your house when you can enjoy all the great wings and more at Wings and Rings? It's the big game party with 93.7 The Ticket at Wings and Rings this Sunday at 68th and O.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Welcome in to the Corner 3, taking you around the arc of college basketball. From the NAAC to the Pac-12, the WCC to the SWAC, we cover it all now on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
That's right. Welcome into the Corner 3, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, and also with you wherever it is you get your podcast. Thanks for listening here Friday nights at 6 o'clock. It's an honor being able to do this show, chat some college hoops with you. Would love it if you would be a part of the show. 402-464-5685. That's the number to our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line, as well as thanks to Sartor Heyman Jewelers for their sponsorship of our video streams. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitter. And as always, a big shout out to Allo for their sponsorship of Channel 961 on their cable package. Should be a fun show for you tonight. Had a good time last week with Jacob Bigelow, just going through the reasons that we love college basketball, why we think that's the sport that should fill the void for you whenever there's something that you're craving. There's not enough sports on, you don't like what's going on with your team, whatever it is. Why should college basketball step in and fill the void? We talked about that last week, and I want to start bringing that back on a more regular basis. I was keeping a running list all week of some of the wild and fun stuff that happened throughout the wide world of college basketball. So we will certainly get to that on today's show because, y'all, college hoops rocks. It's just fun. It's stupid. It's crazy. It's zany. It's off the wall. It's fun. I love college hoops, and I hope that through this show, you're learning to love college hoops in whatever form it takes for you as well. We'll do that a little bit later in the show. That was going to be how we led off the first segment of the show, but I really think the way to go is with the news of the day. We got some rumors yesterday. Came official today. Mike Woodson will resign his post as head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers effective after this season. After just 4 years in charge, Indiana alum Mike Woodson will not lead the program next year. And of course, this sets off a lot of questions. Oh, who takes over for him? Where does Indiana go from here? And we will certainly get into the list of candidates for Indiana as we move forward. A lot of popular names. One of them comes to town on Saturday. So we will get to the list of names. But it's worth just taking a look at what Indiana has done under Mike Woodson so far, and then how that compares to the two guys before him, to Archie Miller and to Tom Crean, of course. So right now, Mike Woodson, about 3.5 years at Indiana, has gone 77-49, good for a winning percentage of .611. The guy he took over for, Archie Miller, only got 4 years at Indiana. He went 67-58. That's a .536 winning percentage. And then in the last 4 years of Tom Crean, the Hoosiers were 82-53, good for a 60.7 winning percentage. So what Woodson is doing is pretty much right in line with what Tom Crean did, and a little bit ahead of what it was that Archie Miller did. Of course, Archie lost a couple games in there due to COVID. Archie Miller was the coach at that time for Indiana. Not that that would have made a huge difference on the overall record and resume. When you look at what these coaches have done in the Big Ten, they've been pretty much the same. Archie Miller was the worst, 33-44 across his 4 years in Big Ten play. Also ended up having the worst single season. One of the years his teams went 7-12 in Big Ten play. Woodson's just been pretty steady, pretty right in the middle. His best year was 12-8. His worst year was 9-11 at 5-7 right now. Again, not horrible, not wretched, but generally uninspiring for Indiana in Big Ten conference play. Compare that to Tom Crean, who had the best season of any of these coaches, 15-3 1 year. That would have been in Crean's, I think, second to last year. They went 15-3 in conference play. Actually ended up winning the Big Ten that year. They did have 7-11 records in Big Ten play a couple years as well. And that's just the other thing for Indiana, is that aside from the year that Crean finished first and his second to last, his penultimate year in charge of the Hoosiers program, Indiana's been a middle of the pack team. Woodson in his second year did have Indiana tied for second in the conference. Otherwise, under Tom Crean, it was tied for 8th, tied for 7th, tied for 10th. Under Archie Miller, the best finish for Indiana was the tie for 6th. Otherwise, there was a couple ties for 10th and a tie for 8th. And then for Woodson, it was a straight up 9th place finish, and then a tied for 6th place finish last year, while Indiana's kind of in that same range so far this year. So not only is Indiana, the same program on the surface when it comes to overall record, again, ticked slightly up under Woodson from what it was under Archie Miller, but they're pretty much right back to where they were in late stage Tom Crean years. But the conference record hasn't gotten much better. Again, Tom Crean was 38-34 in his last 4 years in charge of Indiana. Right now, Woodson is 36-36. If you take the KenPom projections, you can say Indiana's going to go either 7-13 or 8-12 in Big Ten conference play. So if we tack 3 wins and what would that be? I can do math. 3 wins and 5 losses onto that. That gets Mike Woodson to 39-41, a below 500 record in Big Ten play. Archie Miller went below 500 in Big Ten play. Okay, but what about the NCAA tournament, right? Some of that's just regular season numbers and conference numbers. What about the NCAA tournament? Well, in Tom Crean's last 4 years, Indiana qualified for the NCAA tournament 2 times. They missed it in his 4th to last year. They missed it in his final year when they dipped down to an 18-16 record. In between that, Tom Crean made it to the Sweet 16 as a 5 seed and made it to the round of 32 as a 10 seed. Think about that. They pulled an upset both times by their seed line, right? To make it to the round of 32 as a 10, you got to beat a 7. Again, that's a slightly better than you, but not overall inspiring team. But they did technically pull a seed line upset. And to get to the Sweet 16 as a 5 seed, you probably got to beat a 4. So, hey, look at that. Tom Crean made it further than his seed would have indicated. Archie Miller did not make the NCAA tournament in 4 years in Bloomington. In fact, I found this note doing research. Archie Miller was the first multi-year coach at Indiana since someone named Harry Good from 1943 to 1946 to not make the NCAA tournament at least once in his tenure in charge of Indiana. The first Indiana coach that got multiple years since World War II to not qualify for the NCAA tournament at least once. That's a big reason why Archie Miller had to go. Mike Woodson has made the NCAA tournament twice. Missed it his first, made it. Let me pull this back up. I had it written down. Either way, Mike Woodson has made the NCAA tournament twice in his 3 full years in charge of Indiana. They made it to the round of 64 and then to the round of 32, just losing in the first round in a 5-12 matchup. They did make it to the round of 34 as a 4 seed. Then they were upset by Miami on Miami's best run in school history under Jim Larrañaga. So, okay, essentially what Woodson has done again is got Indiana back to where it was under Tom Crean. Tom Crean finished ranked once in his last 4 years. Mike Woodson finished ranked once in his first 3 years so far at Indiana. I would be pretty floored if Indiana were to finish this year ranked. So we'll just kind of assume that's going to be once. And Archie Miller never once had the Hoosiers finish a year ranked. How about this, though, for Tom Crean? Indiana, in his final season, was ranked preseason number 11, climbed to number 6, and then elevated even further after they beat Kansas in the Armed Forces Classic out at the Stan Sheriff Center in Hawaii. Yes, the same arena that Nebraska won the Diamond Head Invitational earlier this season. Indiana went out there for the Armed Forces Classic, ranked on ranked, top 15, top 10 matchup between 2 of the biggest brands in college basketball in Indiana and Kansas. And that 2016-17 Indiana team ended up taking Kansas down out in Hawaii. They got ranked number 3 in the country. And then like a week or 2 later, turned right around, went and played a true road game at Fort Wayne, at Indiana-Purdue Fort Wayne, and lost. They lost a true road game in state by 3 points in overtime. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end for Tom Crean, right? Upsets happen. Pretty cool to see an in-state school, the land-grant institution, the big-name school, the basketball school in the state, go play a true road game. I really do think we need more of it. But maybe you can point to some of that as the downfall of Tom Crean in his last year. I mean, one of his best years in a while, followed up by a huge win over Bill Self and a plenty talented Kansas team, only to turn around, go on the road, and get beat by Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, when you're ranked number 3 in the country. If you were ranked number 3 in the Big Ten, okay, maybe. If you were ranked, number 30 in the country, or, even number 130 in the country, you went on the road, you lose to Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne. Yeah, not a great look, but hey, maybe they had a really good year. You really didn't. Well, that wasn't a particularly special Purdue, Fort Wayne team. That, again, the number 3 Indiana Hoosiers under Tom Crean went on the road and lost to. Augie, I will get to that in just a little bit when it comes to the coaching carousel and some of the names for Indiana. But a big kind of tie that has bound these Indiana coaches together is the lack of three-point shooting, right? The lack of modern offense, not playing the game of basketball the way the game of basketball is heading, right? Tom Crean got some of that out-of-touch dinosaur label attached to him. Archie Miller wasn't able to improve that at all. And certainly Mike Woodson's teams haven't really done that. But I wanted to make sure that wasn't just narrative. I wanted to make sure there was some actual data behind this. So I went to the number one trusted source. The simplest way to solve this for me was to go to University of Wyoming meteorology professor Ken Pomeroy's beloved website, kenpom.com. And I went through 2 different categories for Indiana. And again, this is just over the last 4 years of Tom Crean, the 4-year tenure of Archie Miller, and now the 3.5 years of Mike Woodson that's going to end after 4 years as he announced his resignation today. 3-point rate and 3-point shooting percentage. So Tom Crean, when he starts getting that dinosaur narrative and label attached to him, his team in his 4th year before he stepped away took threes 29.4% of its shots, good for 257th in the country. They were about 50th percentile in their 3-point percentage, though, knocking him down at a 34.4% clip, good for 171st. The 2 years in his Final Four that Tom Crean made the NCAA tournament, it was a drastic turnaround in that department, from 257th in 3-point rate to 52nd nationally, taking threes 39.5% of the time and making them at a top 10 clip in the country. Indiana took a high volume of threes and knocked them down at a 40.6% rate in one of Tom Crean's better years. The very next year, they actually upped their 3-point rate a little bit, fall back a couple spots in terms of where it ranks nationally. From 39.5%, they add another 1.5% on top of that to get to nearly 41% of Indiana's shots in Tom Crean's second to last year came from beyond the arc, and they were a top 5 3-point percentage making team at 41.6%. They fell back a little bit. They dropped about 2% off their 3-point rate the next year. Still, a top, 67th percentile mark in the country at 116th. And their 3-point shooting percentage was still pretty darn good. It did drop about 3.5%, but when you start at 41.5%, you drop down to 38. That's still an incredible shooting number for a team that only ended up going 18-16. But I was a little shocked to see that, Tom Crean's teams took that many threes and especially made that many threes, not just as a one-off, but consistently. So, okay, that was good to know for Indiana under Tom Crean. But then what did Archie Miller do? Nothing good. Nothing good for Indiana and its 3-point rate. Under Archie Miller, the highest percentage of threes that Indiana took as a percentage of its total shots, the high water mark was year 1 for Archie. 34% of Indiana's shots coming from beyond the arc, 263rd in the country. That would only go down from there. The highest percentage in Archie Miller team shot from 3 was 32.6%. And that was in Archie's second to last year, good for 204th in the country. So again, the second to last year of Crean, Indiana is taking, 41% of its shots from 3 and hitting 41.5% of those shots. And then within, 2 years, they're down in the 300s in terms of 3-point rate and percentage. So you bring in Mike Woodson. to, again, take over for Archie Miller, the only coach for Indiana since World War II with a multi-year tenure that didn't make the NCAA tournament. You bring in beloved alum, NBA player, NBA coach Mike Woodson, and it doesn't get better in year one. In fact, it gets a little bit worse in terms of the rate. Indiana takes only 31% of its shots from three. They do make them at a 1/3 rate, 33.3%. That's 200th in the country. Woody makes the tournament in year two, taking threes only 26.5% of the time, but Indiana was a top 40 shooting team. They didn't shoot many threes. They were pretty good at them. Probably could have ticked up the rate because Indiana shot darn near 37% from three, good for 39th in the country. Okay, maybe, just maybe, they unlocked something there, right? With Trace Jackson Davis, with Jalen Hood-Schifino. Those guys were both gone. Malik Renew as a freshman. Maybe Mike Woodson saw the light after year two. I got to modernize. We have to space the floor for the traditional big men that I like to recruit. Nope. Didn't happen. Woody slammed on the brakes. They go and improve a whopping 3 positions, 3 spots in three-point rate from 354th all the way up to 351st. Last year, and for Mike Woodson, they take threes just 1% of the time more. And then they shoot them 4.5% worse, dropping from 39th in the country in three-point accuracy to 255th. Fell off a cliff precipitously. And then this year so far, Indiana is 320th out of 364 teams in three-point rate, taking them about 33% of the time and making them at an even worse rate at 32.2%, 251st out of 364 teams. Besides the 1 year accuracy tick up in year two under Woodson and the 2-year run under Crean where Indiana was top 60 in rate and top 6 in accuracy, Indiana has not been good at running modern offense for a variety of reasons. Non-versatile post men, traditional bigs. You can call Trace Jackson Davis a traditional big in terms of the result. But certainly he handled the ball a little bit and was an athletic post man, but I still think his shot diet was that of a traditional post. The big ask for him was always, can you stretch to the elbow, brother? Get an elbow jumper. And that would open up so much more for you. It didn't happen under Archie Miller, not in Woodson's 1 year with him as well. Again, aside from the one blip in accuracy for Woodson in his second year, Indiana's not even been good at shooting threes. And if you're not good at threes, you should probably take less of them. Yes, absolutely, right? I'm not saying that Indiana or other poor shooting teams should just shoot threes for the sake of shooting threes, right? I don't misunderstand me. Don't just jack them up to say you did it. You got to recruit to it. You got to pace and space to it. You got to have a system that both incentivizes and emphasizes the three-point shot in today's modern era of basketball. And I think the way that you can look at this is through the lens of Purdue, right? Indiana's hated, bitter rival in the same state, not that far. You get that matchup, twice a year, as you should. Indiana played Purdue better than pretty much anyone's played Purdue this year. Not beat them, of course. That's kind of the Indiana way right now. But think about the Matt Painter blueprint compared to Indiana's. What Matt Painter does is he recruits to roles. He recruits to a system. Think about, going from the Zach Edey's of the world, from say, even go back to like Caleb Swanigan for Purdue, right? That lineup, Isaac Haas, Matt Harms, posts like that. Those are traditional big men for Purdue. But what does Matt Painter do around them? Spreads the floor. Ethan Morton, Mason Gillis, Braden Smith shoots well, Fletcher Lawyer. These random guys out of, backwood Indiana, backwood Wisconsin, Minnesota, upper Midwest, Ohio, whatever. Their job is to not turn the ball over, make the entry pass when it's open, and hit the spot up three off the kickout. That's the Purdue way. That's the Purdue style. They recruit traditional big men, just like Indiana does. But Purdue does it with a plan that both maximizes their big men as well as maximizes their guards. Indiana hasn't done that. Think about Indiana's, latest recruiting class, especially out of the transfer portal. Ballyhooed, deservedly so. Umar Bala from Indiana, walking double-double. Adonis, 7'1", 240, ripped, rocked up, all that good stuff. Traditional big, you can work with that. Except that Indiana's second best player is Malik Renew, a guy who only begrudgingly sets foot, beyond the three-point line and fires away. Had good accuracy last year, but on low volume. He is most comfortable operating, short corner to elbow and inside that miniature arc. Think about, Miles Rice. The knock on him as a guard, streaky shooter. Kanan Carlisle, same sort of thing. Indiana's one ad that could really stretch the floor, Luke Goody. You can't add just one guy like that. It might be all Indiana could get, given the budget that it spent on, getting Ballo, getting Rice, and getting Carlisle to campus. I'm not surprised Luke Goody isn't shooting as well at Illinois as he was at Indiana, or at Indiana as opposed to Illinois, where they got him from. That's a lot of pressure to be the one good shooter on the floor. Even if you don't consciously feel that pressure every time you put a shot up, I'm sure Luke Goody can feel the weight of the Indiana fan base on him, saying, if you don't make this three, our spacing's only going to get worse. Trey Galloway has been described as the guy with the prettiest looking shot that never goes in. He's got to be a better shooter to be able to stay on the floor. Xavier Johnson, their point guard from a couple of years ago, one time Nebraska, at least target, if not even commit. That's another guy that didn't necessarily stretch the floor consistently. And at the end of the day, Indiana wasn't elite defensively, it was okay. But the lack of modern offense, I think, is really what's going to end up doing Indiana coaches in. So then it leads to the question that Augie brings up here on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line, 402-464-5685. I know the rumor is Virginia, but what about Iowa State's coach? What is my take? I think that Tony Bennett would be a fantastic call for Indiana to make. I think Tony Bennett did a lot with not that much at Virginia in a lot of ways. I think Indiana has really trended up in the NIL space. Evidence A is their roster currently, heck of a roster. That wasn't cheap. That was a pricey roster. I think Tony Bennett could do some work at Indiana, has some Big Ten roots with his dad, Dick Bennett, coaching up in the state of Wisconsin and at Wisconsin for a while. So Tony Bennett certainly has Big Ten DNA. TJ Otzelberger, not sure what the buyout is. Would he leave Iowa State for Indiana? It would certainly be a step up in terms of history and prestige. But I think Oates has found his fit over there when it comes to Ames. I think he's great there. I think he's great for them. I think it's great for him. I would be very surprised to see TJ Otzelberger leave Iowa State for Indiana. The name that's flashed up for everyone so far this week is the guy that brings his team to town tomorrow, Dusty May. That's a guy that a lot of Indiana fans wanted to take over that program. That's a name that a lot of national folks are surprised didn't get a little bit more run and intrigue from Indiana the first go round. He ends up at Michigan, has a really $5 million buyout to leave the Wolverines, just his first year up there. And the reason all the intrigue for Dusty May, Indiana guy, Indiana student manager. There are the ties. He's had success with the Final Four run at Florida Atlantic. Can obviously work the transfer portal with guys he knows and guys he doesn't at Michigan. And there's the Indiana factor, right? Would he be a fit? Let's just hope it doesn't turn too toxic for Mike Woodson tomorrow, because, oh boy, has it taken a turn that direction. Plenty of other names being floated out there. Does Brad Stevens get a call? Again, Indiana guy from Indiana, coached at Butler. If Brad Stevens leaves his current gig as, Celtics president, I would be shocked, beyond floored. Like, we would have to come up with something borderline inhumane for me to do, because that's how confident I am Brad Stevens will take a conversation, but not seriously entertain becoming the next head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. Okay, let's just go through some other names that have been thrown out there. Bruce Pearl. Would he leave Auburn to come to Indiana? I don't know. Bruce Pearl seems like he has a good thing going down there at Auburn, and the SEC has all of a sudden turned into a formidable basketball conference. So I doubt Bruce Pearl. Billy Donovan, is he looking for an escape route back into the college game? Is he less than inspired by the Bulls' moves at the trade deadline? I would be, but is Billy Donovan at least worth a call? At least worth a call. You'd have to wait till the end of the season, which is a few months away for the NBA. That's fine. I at least check in on Billy Donovan. Nate Oates? That'd be the modernization Indiana's needed. But does Nate Oates, his journey from Buffalo to Alabama, does it lead him to the Great Lakes, to the Midwest, wherever you want to describe Indiana as? I'm not sold on Nate Oates as an Indiana guy in terms of fit, but in terms of basketball, yes, that is the modernization absolutely that Indiana needs. Scott Drew? How about that? Scott Drew started his coaching career with his dad, Homer Drew, at Valparaiso. Could a return to the Midwest be in the cards for him? Why would you turn down Kentucky but not Indiana? That one would be questionable to me if Scott Drew were to leave Baylor after signing the contract extension to go to Bloomington, but that would be a heck of a get for Indiana if they were able to pull him. The dark horse option for me, outside of Dusty May that everyone's talking about, is Chris Beard. Chris Beard, current head coach at Ole Miss. Was it Texas? Was it Texas Tech? Was that, I believe, Stephen F. Austin before that as well? But how about this, guys? Chris Beard has an Indiana tie. He was a Bob Knight assistant at Texas Tech. Could that be the in that Indiana has to go get Chris Beard? Would I bank on it? No. Would I be intrigued by it? Absolutely. Lots to monitor there. The statement from Indiana was very nice, very, very professional. Curious to see what Mike Woodson has to say on it when he does speak. We're going to go to break. We're going to keep it in Big Ten country. The NBA trade deadline came and passed yesterday. Let's make some trades for Big Ten teams. Keeping Nebraska out of it for the most part. But let's make some Big Ten trades before the deadline that will officially pass after this show. So coaches, GMs, ADs, get on the horn. Make these deals happen quick if you love them. We'll do the Big Ten trade deadline when we get back to the corner three.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Hey, bestie. Whoa, how'd you snag that awesome set of wheels? I'm in the market for a new car, too. My friends at Members Own Credit Union. You're always in the driver's seat when it comes to your finances at Members Own. Always in the driver's seat, huh? Yep. They set you up with a loan that makes sense for your budget with great rates and top-notch customer service to boot. Looks like we're going to need to make a pit stop. Let's go. I'll drive. Hit the road to financial success and explore auto loan options with your best financial friend, Members Own Credit Union. For details, go to membersowncu.org/drive. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Ready to spruce up your space? No matter what project is on your list, you can check it off at the Nebraska Builders Home and Garden Show, February 7th through the 9th at the Sandhills Global Events Center. With over 200 businesses under one roof, you'll find the latest in home innovations and experts to handle your dream projects. Admission is just $10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day. It will be breezy with a high around 45. Tonight, a slight chance of wintry mix, otherwise mainly cloudy and a low near 26. Tomorrow, a slight chance of wintry mix in the morning, otherwise mainly sunny and windy with a high near 57. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a card on your way home. Hey, Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. We have great Valentine's gifts in store now. And if you spend $99, we'll throw in a free bouquet of a dozen roses. Give her what she really wants this year and let us do the rest. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, your hometown jeweler since 1905 in Lincoln and Grand Island. Online at sartorheyman.com.
Back to the corner three on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
Welcome back into the corner three. You're finding it on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, our free mobile app for your phone. Check your app store. Take us worldwide, wherever you go. Clear signal all the time. Whatever's on air, you're getting. As well as you can find us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Allo channel 961. Those are up and running for you. 402-464-5685 if you've got any thoughts, any hypothetical trades that you might make for some Big Ten teams. I can't lie. I was inspired by a one-time guest of this show and On the Block, Isaac Trotter, national writer for 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports, as well as by the NBA trade deadline, trying to patch some holes on the Big Ten's primary contenders right now. I did, for the most part, keep Nebraska out of this. I will not be proposing any trades for Nebraska, trying to patch holes that I might see or otherwise. Nebraska may or may not be involved in a couple of these trades of contenders that would like to poach some players off Nebraska's roster, but we will not be trading anyone away for Nebraska, at least not initially. So 402-464-5685. Let me know if you like these or not. The teams we'll be going through, Mitten State teams, Michigan State. We'll hit UCLA, Purdue, Maryland, Wisconsin, Oregon, and Illinois. So let's just start at the top of my list, not in any super particular order. Michigan, what do they need? Ball security. If Vlad Golden keeps getting his pocket picked, and Michigan will just throw the ball away for fun. Their passing on the basketball court kind of looks like it did on the football field. Not always effective. When it works, when it clicks, it is a beautiful system of ball movement. With the two bigs, the unique lineup they can run out there with Danny Wolf at the 4 and Vlad Golden at the 5. Trey Donaldson has really been a revelation for them. Role players fitting in around them here and there. But I still think that Michigan needs more ball security. Trey Donaldson's been fine, but prone to it at times as well. So for Michigan, I would think that they would want just a backup ball handler who knows their job is to set guys up, who's able to take some of the creation responsibilities out of the big guy's hands so they're not getting stripped and poked when they're trying to put the ball on the deck and move into scoring position. So for Michigan, I'm getting another initiator. I'm getting another primary ball handler. They're good. You don't want to mess with chemistry too much if you're in Michigan's spot. So I would think a couple of targets for Michigan would be Raleigh Wooster, Brock Harding, or Lucai Patterson. Wooster, of course, from Nebraska, Harding from Iowa, and Lucai Patterson from Minnesota. What does Michigan have to give up? I would say Reuben Jones as a depth piece from North Texas would be available, and I would say probably Will Shedder and or LJ Kaysen. Kaysen's a young guy they wouldn't want to part with, but if Michigan really thinks that they need to make a run, maybe they're willing to do it. I don't think that they would part with Sam Walters, their stretch four that they got from Alabama in the offseason. And that's why I think that if you're just looking at this as a value proposition, if Michigan's going to make a big swing, maybe they would have to include a guy like Walters. But as much as they love Shedder, as much as he plays as well as he's been shooting the last couple of years for them, he's a little bit older. So in terms of the value, the trading team will not get as much out of him. And I think Michigan would like to build around Sam Walters for the long term. So I did not have him as an available player to trade. I think just a simple swap of Reuben Jones for Brock Harding with Iowa would go a long way to fill needs for both teams. Iowa in the same neighborhood of the Big Ten standings, as Nebraska is right now. Brock Harding has been a big piece of their success, handling the ball quite a bit, bringing it up the floor, initiating a lot of offense. I could see him filling a similar role for Michigan. He's a good enough three-point shooter that he can, initiate and clear, or he can initiate late in the shot clock, hit one if he needs to. Reuben Jones would bring some defensive edge, defensive intensity to Iowa that they've been lacking for the better part of, Fran McCaffrey's tenure. But that's a different story for a different time. So if I'm Dusty May, if I'm Ward Manuel and I'm making trades, I'm getting Fran McCaffrey and Beth Getz on the phone, and I am trying to swap Reuben Jones for Brock Harding. Michigan State is enigmatic to me, y'all. I do not know what to make of the Spartans. Their record is legit. Just how tough has their schedule been? We are in wait and see mode with them. Michigan State, I said they really have three needs. I said they need front court depth, which is funny because they have front court depth. They'll run, 4 post guys out there. I don't trust any of them. Maybe if Michigan State could consolidate 2 of those guys into one, it would go a long way for them. I think they need shooting. Michigan State right now is playing like Texas A&M did last year. They are not shooting it well. They're a bottom 10th percentile team in the country in 3-point accuracy. They're making up for it with decent defense, a lot of offensive rebounding as well. So I don't think Michigan State, unless it can add proven shooting, wants to get away from that identity of crashing the glass, which is why they maybe wouldn't want to part with one of their big men, because they can throw 4 from out there, go full speed ahead, go full bore, and then keep crashing the glass. And I think Michigan State could use some help on the wing. I'm not sold on Cohen Carr. Frankie Fiddler is kind of there. And that's the nicest thing I can say about Frankie Fiddler on a consistent basis for the Spartans this year. If Michigan State could consolidate, a couple bigs for a wing, I think that would go a long way for them. So the pieces that I think Michigan State would want to target. Northwestern is going through it. Just lost a couple players due to injury, including one of the best players in program history in Brooks Barnheiser. He's done for the year. Would Northwestern be willing to ship out Matthew Nicholson, their 7-footer, in kind of a consolidation trade, give a couple big guys back? Would Minnesota be willing to part with their big men, either Parker Fox or Femi Odekale? One of them. Could Minnesota part with one of them and get a piece or two back from Michigan State for that? I could also see Michigan State being interested in, say, Zach Hicks, defensive-minded wing at Penn State. Or could Michigan State potentially be interested in Connor Essegian, right? For just a spark plug off the bench where everyone else on your team is going to defend. Connor Essegian knows his role kind of like he does at Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska would be willing to part with him, what he's brought the Huskers, unless it was for the right return, which I don't think there's necessarily a match there for Michigan State and Nebraska. Michigan State, like I said, does have front court depth available. 4 post guys they'll cycle through: Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, Simon Zapala, and Xavier Booker. Mostly the same player slight differences in height and weight and fringe skill sets, but really they're just there to be tall, set screens and crash the glass. That's really what their consistent impact is, even if that's not what it is consistently in theory, what Michigan State wants them to be. And I also think one of Michigan State's 17 bajillion guards could be tradable as well, and that'll come up here in our next trade, so I'll hold off on that. But ultimately, I settle on a little bit of a consolidation trade for Michigan State. I think they would want to go get a guy like Parker Fox, who's a consistent kind of low volume guy, knows his role, plays it well, defends the rim a little bit. I think Michigan State could give up Carson Cooper and Simon Zapala for Parker Fox. They keep their best numbers guy right now in Jackson Kohler. They keep a Tom Izzo favorite, I use that word very loosely, in Xavier Booker, the hypothetical stretch big man, and they go get just a traditional Big Ten, power forward, can slide to the 5 guy in Parker Fox. UCLA's next on my list, and this is where Trey Holloman comes into play. I think a good swap for UCLA and Michigan State would be to send senior Kobe Johnson out the door from UCLA to go get Trey Holloman. It was a problem for UCLA at Nebraska. It's been a problem for them, other times as well, is the guard play. UCLA has guards. We can go through the list and name them all, but they haven't always been good. Your Dylan Edwardses, your Trent Perrys, your Sky Clarks, guys like that. I think UCLA would make available because I like Sebastian Mack. Eric Daly Jr. is really starting to come into his own. And UCLA, is absolutely not parting with Tyler Bilodeau or Ade Mara. So I think that one of those underperforming underclassmen guards that still have a lot of potential could be on the trading block, right? This would be trading a proven high floor, maybe lower ceiling veteran for a prospect at the deadline in baseball terms. Not perfect value if you give up, Clark or Andrews or even Perry from UCLA for Trey Holloman. And I think Michigan State needing a wing more than it needs guards. It would hurt UCLA to give up Kobe Johnson, who's been really good for them defensively. I think Michigan State would be interested in Lazar Stefanovic. I just don't think UCLA would give him up. I think with Johnson being a senior, you could say that Michigan State could go all in for the win now move. Decent, not great shooter in Johnson, pretty darn good defender, knows the Big Ten a little bit, playing at USC before this. UCLA, some familiarity with the West Coast teams that Michigan State's going to see. So I like the idea of Kobe Johnson for Trey Holloman, proven guard for UCLA and proven wing for Michigan State. One more, and then we'll take a break and get back to the rest of the Big Ten trades in the next segment. Purdue. What does conference leading Purdue, what does projected 2-seed Purdue really need right now? Can Purdue get better at the margins? I still don't love Purdue's roster on the face. I really don't, on its face. But it's recruited to a system. These guys know their role. These guys make the plays that they're supposed to make, nothing more, nothing less. Braden Smith is a wizard. He is maximizing Trey Kaufman-Renn, who I still don't think is a thing, but looks like a thing playing next to Braden Smith. Fletcher Lawyer's doing his job. Cox is coming on. They're solid. So what do you get a team that doesn't have everything, but you don't want to upset the chemistry, right? I think not even like Oklahoma City or Cleveland style, almost more like Milwaukee style, not the same style of play, I get it, but they have pretty much everything they need. You don't need to make a huge trade if you don't want to. We'd understand it, but you don't want to decimate your depth because that's kind of Purdue's strength. I could see Purdue targeting one of 2 Northwestern players. I think another kind of scoring big man to take some pressure off of Braden Smith to do a lot of the creating. A bucket getter in the post who can also stretch the floor in Nick Martinelli, I think would go a long way for Purdue. That's a versatile piece that I think Matt Painter could get a lot out of. Or if you want another, running mate for Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, go get Ty Berry. That is a solid, underrated, just Big Ten dude who knocks down big threes. Northwestern will go to him when they need a shot to go in the hoop from long range. I could see Purdue being interested in one of those 2 guys, especially if, again, the approach for Northwestern is more of the professional approach. We're done with this year. We're down, our best player in Brooks Barnheiser, lost some other depth pieces throughout the year as well. Can we build for the future? What can we get in exchange for losing these guys now, suffering in the moment, hating to see them walk out the door, but can we get better next year? I could see something like Caleb First and Raleigh Burgess for Nick Martinelli. If you've never heard of Raleigh Burgess, neither had I before I did this project. It's the tall white guy factory that Matt Painter dipped back into to get him, I believe, out of the Mid-Atlantic region. Top 100 recruit in his class. Caleb First is a guy that I'm not a fan of, but that's a solid Big Ten basketball player that kind of fits Chris Collins' mold. So I could see Northwestern saying, yep, we're kind of done with this year. We can get these two guys. We can get better for next year. Thanks for everything you did, Nick Martinelli. Go kill it in West Lafayette. 4 trades down, 4 to go. Maryland, Wisconsin, Oregon, and Illinois. What are you doing? What are you not doing? We'll get to those 4 trades when we return to the corner 3.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
Hey, Reese, you hungry?
You know I am, Mama. Let me introduce y'all to my canes. We got chicken fingers. They hit the spot, baby. Fries are golden crispy, Texas toast crunchy, and they cane sauce right. You go to coleslaw right here. Ooh, Lord help me. This sweet tea makes me sweet. That's what my mama said. So what are you doing right now? Get your mom to take you to Raising Cane's chicken fingers. Hello.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to Oak Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at Oak Street Carpet.
Oak Street Carpet.
1732 Oak Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hey volleyball fans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Stop asking your friends if they're hosting a party this Sunday and come for the real party instead. Join 93.7 The Ticket for the big game at Wings and Rings at 68th and O this Sunday and walk away with great prizes just for showing up. Why worry about making a great spread of food for the game at your house when you can enjoy all the great wings and more at Wings and Rings? It's the big game party with 93.7 The Ticket at Wings and Rings this Sunday at 68th and O.
Back to the corner three on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the corner three. 402-464-5685 if you've got any thoughts. We're making some Big Ten trades. Deadline is rapidly approaching. In fact, that deadline is approximately 9 minutes away from now before we get you out to some high school basketball on the radio airwaves. 4 trades to go. Maryland, the Terps, the surprising Terps, the hot Terps. What do they need? I think they could use a backup point guard. I don't want to see Jacoby Gillespie playing 38 minutes down the stretch to try to carry the Terps, who have some pretty decent shooting on the wing, have 2 really good big men in freshman Derek Queen, and I think he's a senior now, Julian Reese. He might only be a junior. Either way, one of those guys that's going to be a guy I look back on in 5 years and say, how is he in basketball, college basketball that long? I would like to get Maryland a backup point guard for their sake. Guys that come to mind for me, DeMarco Dunn and Jeremiah Williams. Dunn is at Penn State. Williams is at Rutgers. I think Williams would be the better option for Maryland, give him a better point of attack defender, but DeMarco Dunn is no slouch in that as well. I do think Dunn is probably more attainable. What does Maryland have on the table to offer? Jordan Geronimo and Tafara Gapare. I would say parting with a guy like Geronimo, energy kind of spark plug off the bench, wouldn't be great, but I think Rutgers could always use some more defensive help, especially on the wing, right? With Harper defending a lot of guards and Bailey defending, well, who really knows? Teams are kind of targeting Ace Bailey, who has not been all that great defensively this year, nor has Rutgers. So I think if you can get Jeremiah Williams to play in that dunker spot, that would be pretty nice. Jordan Geronimo, to play in that dunker spot alongside Harper and Bailey, that would go a long way for them. Losing Jeremiah Williams would hurt. Rutgers doesn't necessarily have a lot of guard depth. That would be a big bank on Dylan Harper staying healthy and staying effective. So am I sold that that's going to happen or would happen? No, I don't think Maryland would want to part with Geronimo, but he's kind of fallen out of favor in that rotation this year. He's kind of a spot player. I think that Rutgers would like a guy like that, and I think Maryland could find Jeremiah Williams of some use to them as well. All right, Wisconsin. What does Wisconsin need? This is a team I was so down on, that I was so out on. Anti-Greg guard. Don't appreciate the way he plays 2 7-footers at the same time. It's one thing when one of your big men is Danny Wolf and the other is Vlad Golden. There is no overlap in the skill set. But Greg Gard has gone from playing Tyler Wall and Stephen Crowell together to Stephen Crowell and Nolan Winter. Winter can at least stretch the floor a little bit. Wall really couldn't. But I don't know how Wisconsin makes it work. I just don't. I have been so far out on the Badgers. And here they are telling me to shove it once again. They're good, but they're not perfect. They sure looked like it against Nebraska when the Huskers went up to the Kohl Center in the one matchup between those 2 teams this year. But I think that Wisconsin, a program that has played some pretty efficient offense at times, has played some really good defense at times in program history, I think Wisconsin would be looking for a wing defender. That's what I think. And I think Wisconsin has a lot of flexibility because they're really just one piece away. And Wisconsin is a pretty deep team. They'll play a lot of guys. They know their roles. They play them well. But if I were going to improve Wisconsin, I think that, again, Jordan Geronimo would be on the table, maybe more of a bigger wing guard, not as much on the perimeter, but certainly an inside-out kind of defender. I would say Nick Kern from Penn State would be an option for them. And I really think that Wisconsin could use a guy like Juwan Gary, right, who can defend guards, who can moonlight in the post in the right lineups. But I think Juwan is at his best as a defender when he's matched up on a guy his similar size. And that's what I think Wisconsin's missing. They don't have a great athlete on the wing to just pick up a wing and lock him down. I really think Wisconsin would be interested in Juwan Gary, right? He knows his role. No, doesn't shoot it great, can get hot, streaky shooter. Could Wisconsin, play Gary at the 4 alongside one of the big men? Wouldn't be a great fit at the 3 with them unless they're going to go all in on offensive rebounding. I think Greg Gard and the Badgers could make that work. That's where I think maybe like a Nick Kern would be a little bit better fit. What does Wisconsin have to give up? I think it's 2 guys that play for Wisconsin but aren't making a huge consistent impact. Carter Gilmore is able to stretch the floor. He hit a 3, at least 1, if not 2 against Nebraska. Or Xavier Amos. That's a guy from Northern Illinois that Nebraska was interested in. Lost out on him, obviously, to the Badgers. So with Wisconsin's flexibility, this is where they can go a bunch of different directions. I think that, if Nebraska got Carter Gilmore and Xavier Amos both for Juwan Gary, they would have to at least listen. Would they make that trade? Probably not. In fact, they would almost, laugh Wisconsin off the line. In a purely basketball sense, Wisconsin could use a Juwan Gary. Nebraska could use a floor spacing and a playmaking, big wing. You get the spacing wing in Gilmore. They get the playmaking wing/big in Amos. I think Nebraska could make that work, but obviously that's not going to happen because of how influential Juwan Gary has been to that Nebraska locker room. Right? His leadership skills are something that Fred Hoiberg has praised repeatedly. So no, Nebraska would not part with Juwan Gary pretty much under any circumstance, despite Juwan being a senior. Could Wisconsin trade Xavier Amos for Jordan Geronimo straight up? Go a little bit of a defense for offense swap, give Maryland another versatile front court piece, give Wisconsin a guy to lock up on the perimeter. Or Penn State, right? Ace Baldwin, the man needs more space. He just needs more space around him, plain and simple. Would they swap one of their defenders than Nick Kern for a floor spacer and Carter Gilmore? I can see the framework of a deal. Let's go ahead and pause 10 quick seconds for station identification on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
2 more trades to get to here in the next few minutes. Oregon, I think they need a consistent stud. Shellstad's good. I like him. Wasn't great against Nebraska. Nate Biddle was a minus 27 against Nebraska. He can be really good, but then he disappears. You can play him out of the game. I think Wisconsin needs some consistency. And so what I'm going to do if I'm Oregon is I'm going to consolidate and I'm going to go try to get a guard or a wing to pair with Shellstad. I think Shellstad's a little out of his realm when it comes to being a playmaker and scorer. I think he's a better playmaker than a scorer, especially right now with the shooting percentages. If you want a better version of what you're asking Jackson Shellstad to do right now, you go get Ace Baldwin. If you want Jackson Shellstad to be your initiator, you go get Miles Rice to play the 2. Or if you want an on-ball, a wing that can slide off the ball, I think you make an offer to Iowa for Peyton Sanford. Those are the options for Oregon, who does have some talent, right? If you think about Oregon's bench as a farm system, they got some guys that they could offer, right? Mookie Cook was pretty highly rated. Supreme Cook is a name that played against Nebraska. Jamari Phillips, Keyshawn Barthélemy is a little bit lower value piece given his age, but I think Iowa would be interested in him especially. And Kwame Evans, KJ Evans Jr., I think I would also be interested in him. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what I think would end up happening, this might change now with the news of Mike Woodson's resignation at the end of the year, is Indiana rather, goes star hunting. They take a high upside swing on Mookie Cook. They take a guy with a little pedigree of his own for Supreme Cook, and they ship Miles Rice out. That would be tough to do, but if this season's going nowhere, the spacing's already an issue, I think what you do is you get younger. You get Mookie Cook in the door. You have your Ballo replacement in Supreme Cook, and you're looking forward to next year. One more trade then is Illinois. This was made when Ivisic was out with mono. And I know Brad Underwood really likes his team together with mono, gave us some stats after the Nebraska-Illinois game as to why he feels the way he does. But let's say Ivisic was out at the time when this trade was going to happen. I was going to say Dawson Garcia would maybe be fun for Illinois to go get. That's a guy whose reputation, I think, outstrips his production most times. I don't think he's all that in a bag of chips, but he might at least be the bag of chips. The other guy that I think would fit would be Nick Martinelli, who's just been a better version of Ben Hummerkaus so far this year. And I think Northwestern could thrive with a guy like Hummerkaus spacing the floor. I think that, Dre Gibbs Lawhorn would be a piece Northwestern would like to replace Leach. I think that's the other player that Northwestern is missing for now in the guard rotation. And then, Jake Davis, stretch 4-ish kind of player, could be an asset. Or even Ty Rogers, who's played a pretty big role for Illinois in years past, but right now is redshirting this year with what looked to be pretty good depth for Illinois. So I think there would be a match there between Illinois and Northwestern, keep these guys in state. I think Northwestern would take a deal of either Hummerkaus or Gibbs Lawhorn and Ty Rogers for Nick Martinelli. That helps Illinois now. That helps Northwestern in the future. We're going to keep this party going here for a few minutes before we send you back out to Nick Sainert in high school basketball. I mentioned this at the top of the show. Why should you love college basketball? Well, what did I love in college basketball, right? That's probably the easiest sales pitch. Let's just go down the list. I love college basketball because you can get home from work, you can put your kid to bed, your wife can go to bed, and you can turn on the TV. You'll wake up, you'll walk back downstairs, and you'll see that Georgia Tech and Clemson is heading to overtime in Little John Coliseum. But not only that, Georgia Tech has the chance to put the game away at the free throw line multiple times, doesn't do it. Clemson, in a tie game, doesn't try to get downhill, doesn't try to draw to foul. They jack up a three from Chase Hunter, who's a good shooter, who's a good player, doesn't go anywhere. We go to overtime, same thing. Georgia Tech can't ice it. Clemson has the ball in a tie game. They jack up a three. You go to double overtime, same story. Clemson doesn't do anything. Not a thing. They're just jacking up from long range. It's so bad. Like, Brad Brownell, pretend to draw something up. It was a good game. It was back and forth. Clemson led by 1 at half. Georgia Tech tied it up late. 6-6 in the first overtime, 7-7 in the second, before a 12-9 advantage for the Bees in the third. And that's 2 big wins for Georgia Tech in a row. Not that they're creeping their way toward the bubble or anything, still with just an 11-12 record. But that threw a wrench for the second game in a row for Georgia Tech into the ACC picture as Georgia Tech beat Louisville and Clemson in back-to-back games. So that's one reason that I love college basketball. We got shirts versus skin. And no, I'm not talking about pick up at the rec. I'm not talking about going to the Y, and that's the easiest way to differentiate teams. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Josh Shirts versus Tony Skin in St. Louis at UMass. What other sport gives you shirts versus skin, not just hypothetically, not just theoretically, not just down the block, but in a nationally televised, meaningful Atlantic 10 game? We literally got shirts versus skin. Like, guys, come on. If that's not enough to get you to love college basketball, what more can I do for you? Oh, I can do plenty more. Let me answer that question. Northwestern and USC played the bonkers game of the week. Northwestern led by 2 at half. Northwestern got up by double digits, and Northwestern threw its Northwestern education completely out the door, fouling three-point shooters 3 times in the final 5 minutes of that game, helping USC come back and tie the game. The last one, Northwestern fouls Clark Slackert, the one that hit a 3 against Nebraska, right in Sam Hoiberg's face, unfortunately. Guy that had hardly played until that Nebraska game, hits one against Nebraska. He gets fouled. He's on the court because USC needs shooting. Northwestern knows this dude has one job. Dribble around until you have enough space and put up a three-pointer. Well, he does that. Northwestern fouls him, and he ties the game. Multiple fouls of three-point shooters in 5 minutes from the Ivy League team in the Big Ten. You don't see that. USC erases a double-digit deficit, comes back and ties the game up at 75, and then Northwestern, remembered, had the best player on the court that night, Nick Martinelli, who went for 27 and 13. His 26th and 27th points were a buzzer beater, a basket with 2.5 seconds left, and Northwestern escapes they do end up snatching defeat or victory out of the jaws of defeat that they ended up trying to snatch from the jaws of victory before that. So that's fun. Let's go up the road. How about this? Omaha over North Dakota on a J.J. White buzzer beater. J.J. White scores Omaha's last 12 or 13 points. I'm finding mismatched records here. I can't decide which one it is. But J.J. White goes nuts. Keeps Omaha in that game late against North Dakota. He hits a buzzer beater, and the trash can feared for its life. Shout out the Mavs. They are rolling. They are fun. You might have caught them on SportsCenter, whether it was last night on your TV or on social media here today. Shout out the Mavs for that. If that's not enough, we had a 70-foot buzzer beater from Fairfield against Marist. Okay, how about that? I mean, from the opposite free throw line, that's pretty cool. Yeah, sign me up for some more buzzer beaters like that. Oh, and if that's not enough for you in the buzzer beater department, I got to scroll down and make sure I get this right, because I saw this from Matt Norlander of CBS Sports, and I almost couldn't believe my lying eyes. Oh my gosh, I bookmarked too much stuff. Let me see if I can find this. Did I get rid of it? There's no way I got rid of it, right? I need to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn, because this was absolutely insane. Okay, I'm not finding it, but I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, I scrolled a little bit too far. Iona 70, Mount St. Mary's 67. You have Iona, yes, that place that Rick Pitino used to coach, on the road at Mount St. Mary's. Tie game. Iona has the ball on their side of the court. They put it up. They hit a three, 70-67. The Gales win. But how about this? That buzzer beater from Iona was their first game-winning buzzer beater since the year I was born. It had been since 1998 since the Iona Gales had hit a walk-off shot. They'd hit some to tie it. They hadn't hit a game-winning buzzer beater since 1998. And it happened just last night. Are you kidding me? What more can you ask? What more can you expect from college basketball on any given night? Right? Not all that happened in one night. That was spread throughout the week. Guys, college hoops is fun. I appreciate you listening to the show. I hope that you believe me when I say stuff like this. Let's get into the schedule for the weekend. We'll cut you loose and get it over to high school basketball here on our airwaves. We got Tennessee at Oklahoma early tomorrow morning. You get Oregon at Michigan State. That one's going to be fun. South Carolina, one of the worst teams in the SEC, but they're on the road at number 14, Kentucky, who has really been struggling defensively. All of those games are in the 11 o'clock window. You get Wisconsin at Iowa in the battle for the Axe, if only. You get Michigan at Indiana, right? Talked about that one. Indiana boy, former Indiana student manager Dusty May brings his 24th ranked Wolverines to Indiana the day after Mike Woodson's resignation at the end of the year is made official. That's going to be fun. You get Marquette coming to Omaha to take on Creighton. You get a Sunflower State showdown in Manhattan. Number 16 Kansas goes to the Little Apple to take on Kansas State. So that's going to be fun. UCF Baylor will be interesting. Miami Louisville ought to see some points in that one. Pretty cheap get-in price, too. Only $29 to get into the KFC Yum Center. North Dakota State, one of the top 5 teams in three-point rate in the country, comes to Omaha. That'll be a 1 o'clock tip-off. That'll be one to monitor. Number 10, A&M at number 15, Missouri in Como at 2:30. You get Houston at Colorado. The afternoon big window game, though, is number 6, Florida at number 1, Auburn. Yes, please. Absolutely sign me right the heck up for that one. Scrolling through the rest of the day's slate, Georgia Tech at Virginia, get Mississippi State at Georgia, Illinois at Minnesota, BYU at Cincinnati. The game I'll have my eyes on, number 2 Duke visiting unranked Clemson. That ought to be fun. Can Stanford keep it going? They host the Wolfpack of NC State. Let's just quick glance through the late slate. Alabama, Arkansas, Ole Miss, LSU. Not really doing it for me. San Diego State at Colorado State in Fort Collins for their orange out is going to be fun. We found it. We found the nightcap, folks. 2 of them. 9 o'clock, St. Mary's at Oregon State. St. Mary's just lost to San Francisco last night. And number 13, Texas Tech at number 20, Arizona. It is going to be a fantastic weekend of college hoops. Of course, capping off on Sunday, Nebraska, Ohio State from Pinnacle Bank Arena. I'll be there Stricky will be there, and then we're making our way over to Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O for our Super Bowl watch party down there with the great people at BWR. Super Bowl squares are all given away, except if you show up and you're one of the first 100 people, you can still put your name in the running for a different set of giveaways with a different Super Bowl squares grid. So definitely make sure you join us down there. I'm going to get out of here. When we get back, you will be in the caring, capable hands of Nick Sainer for high school basketball. Lincoln East, Lincoln High on 93.7 The Ticket after this. Give me a follow on Twitter at Austin_Oerman. Follow the show wherever it is you get your podcast. As always, thanks for listening. Talk again soon.
Gentlemen, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Don't be that guy running to the store for flowers and a